Hey everyone, tonight we're going to unravel a haunting tale from the past, stepping into the shadowy history of women's mental health, a story of misunderstanding, bizarre remedies, and silenced voices that stretches from ancient Greece to the digital age. Picture this: you're a woman in a world that doesn't quite hear you, your fears dismissed as wandering wombs or demonic whispers, your anxiety medicated but never truly understood. You probably won't survive this journey without questioning everything you thought you knew about compassion and progress. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I love seeing where you're tuning in from. Now, turn down the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soft background music, and let's get started tonight. You're standing in the bustling agora of ancient Athens, circa 400 BCE, the air thick with the scent of olive oil and sun-warmed stone. Philosophers debate in the shade, their voices sharp and confident, while you, a woman, feel a knot tightening in your chest. Your heart races for no clear reason, your breath catches, and a wave of panic washes over you like a rogue tide. You try to explain this to the local healer, a bearded man with a scroll tucked under his arm. He strokes his chin, squints dramatically, and declares your problem. Your womb is wandering. Yes, you heard that right. Hippocrates, the so-called father of medicine, genuinely believes your uterus has a mind of its own, roaming your body like a lost tourist, causing chaos wherever it goes, your chest, your throat, even your trembling hands. It's not your mind, not your life stresses, but your rebellious anatomy. The treatment? Not exactly a warm hug or a cup of chamomile. The healer waves pungent herbs near your pelvis to lure the womb back home, while burning garlic under your nose to scare it away from your head. You lie there, choking on the fumes, wondering if this is science or a bizarre ritual to summon your organs back in line. It's absurd, but it's the best they've got. In a world where women can't vote, own property, or even wear pants, your anxiety isn't seen as a real condition. It's just your body misbehaving. Historians still debate whether Hippocrates truly believed in the wandering womb, or if he was just working with the limited tools of his time. But either way, it set a precedent. Women's pain was physical, not emotional, and definitely not worth a serious conversation. Let's be real, imagine explaining to your friends that your panic attack is because your uterus took a road trip. You'd all laugh, but back then, this was gospel. The Greeks had no concept of neurotransmitters or trauma. They had myths and herbs. If you were unmarried or too celibate, they'd say your womb was restless, craving purpose, aka a baby. The cure often involved marriage or pregnancy, as if a ring or a child could anchor your organs in place. It's like telling someone with a flat tire to just buy a new car. And yet, there's an odd detail. Some healers prescribed pleasant smells, like roses, to calm the womb, as if it had a refined sense of interior decorating. You shuffle through the agora, the weight of the diagnosis heavy on your shoulders. The sensory details hit hard, the chatter of merchants, the clink of coins, the dust sticking to your sandals. Nobody asks about your grief, your fears, or the endless tasks of keeping a household in a society that barely sees you. Instead, they point to your body, blaming it for daring to feel too much. It's not just a medical misunderstanding, it's a cultural one. Your anxiety, your racing heart, your sleepless nights, they're not symptoms of a mind under pressure, but of a womb gone rogue. And so, you walk on, carrying not just your pain but the silence that comes with it, a silence that will echo for centuries. The canonical event here is the establishment of the Hippocratic Corpus, a collection of medical texts from around 400 BCE, which formalized the wandering womb theory. It shaped how women's mental health was viewed for generations, reducing complex emotions to a single, gendered organ. The oddity, some Greek healers believed the womb could smell the herbs and decide to return to its place, like it had a nose and a travel itinerary. It's almost funny until you realize it meant no one listened to what you were actually feeling. You leave the agora, the healer's words ringing in your ears, wondering if anyone will ever ask why you're trembling instead of what's wandering. You're in ancient Rome now. The year is 100 CE, and the city hums with the clatter of carts on cobblestone and the chatter of merchants hawking their wares. The aqueducts loom grandly, water flowing like the empire's ambition, but your chest is tight again, your palms sweaty, your heart pounding like it's trying to escape. You seek out a physician, hoping for wisdom in this age of marble and conquest. He's a serious man, draped in a toga, scribbling on a wax tablet. After a glance, he declares your problem, furor uterinus, a fancy Latin term for what he calls your womb's unruly behavior. Apparently, it's not wandering anymore, but it's still the culprit, slacking on its womanly duties. Your anxiety, he says, stems from an underused uterus, and the cure? Get married, have children, and do it quickly. It's like prescribing a full-time job to fix a headache. The canonical event here is the work of Soranus of Ephesus, a Roman physician whose gynecological texts around 100 CE codified these ideas. His book on gynecology advised women to avoid strong emotions entirely because, just stop feeling. If you're wealthy, he might suggest wine and music to soothe your nerves, which sounds nice until you realize it's still about calming your defective womb. Poorer women get less glamorous fixes, herbal concoctions, spiritual rituals, or just being ignored. You sit on a marble bench, the cool stone grounding you as you try to process this. The physician's words feel like a dismissal, your panic reduced to a biological failure. Historians still debate whether Soranus genuinely believed childbirth cured emotional distress, or if he was just reflecting Rome's obsession with women as baby makers. But either way, it left you voiceless. The odd detail? Some Roman doctors recommended gentle husbands to ease your distress, as if a kinder dinner conversation could stop your heart from racing. It's almost sweet, in a patronizing way, like telling you to smile more to fix your soul. You can't help but smirk, imagine tweeting, "Doc says my panic attacks are because I'm not pregnant enough. Number Roman problems." But the humor fades fast. If you cry too much, question your husband's authority, or grieve a miscarriage too long, you risk being labeled unstable, maybe even possessed. The treatment could escalate from herbs to priests waving incense, or worse, chicken bones to exorcise your spirits. The sensory details hit you hard. The tang of olive oil in the air, the distant roar of the Colosseum's crowds, the weight of your stola's fabric against your skin. You're expected to be a pillar of Roman virtue, dutiful, silent, fertile, while your anxiety is dismissed as a glitch in your reproductive system. No one asks about the pressure of running a household, the fear of losing another child to disease, or the exhaustion of living in a world where your voice barely counts. Instead, They hand you a cup of bitter herbs and tell you to focus on motherhood. It's not just a medical oversight, it's a cultural cage. Your pain is medicalized, moralized, then swept under the rug, wrapped in olive leaves and patriarchal platitudes. You walk away from the physician's villa, the city's grandeur mocking your quiet struggle. The empire builds roads to conquer the world, but for you, there's no path to understanding. Your anxiety isn't seen as a response to life's weight, but as proof you're failing at being a woman. You pause by a fountain, the waters trickle a faint comfort, and wonder if anyone will ever hear what's really breaking inside you. The answer, for now, is no. Rome's progress doesn't extend to your heart, and so you carry on, your fears tucked away, like a secret only you know. You're trudging through a muddy village in the Middle Ages, around 1200 CE, the air heavy with the scent of damp straw and wood smoke. The church bells toll in the distance, a reminder of the divine order that rules every corner of this world. Your heart's racing again, your hands trembling, and you can't shake the dread that clings to you like fog. You whisper your fears to a neighbor, hoping for comfort, but her eyes widen and she crosses herself. The local priest is summoned, his robe sweeping the dirt as he peers at you with suspicion. Your anxiety, he declares, isn't just a feeling, it's a sign of spiritual compromise. Maybe demons have taken root in your soul. In this era, your shaking hands and sleepless nights aren't medical. They're a battleground for good and evil. The canonical event here is the Malleus Maleficarum, a 1486 text that, though later, crystallized the medieval obsession with linking women's distress to witchcraft and demonic possession. Your symptoms, crying, trembling, or even hearing intrusive thoughts, aren't seen as natural responses to grief or stress. They're proof of Satan's influence. Historians still debate whether the church genuinely believed in mass demonic possession or used it to control a fearful populace. But either way, it meant women like you were at risk. If you spoke too loudly, cried too often, or seemed off during Mass, you could be accused of witchcraft. The punishment? Public humiliation, a river dunking, or, in the worst cases, a bonfire with your name on it. The odd detail? Some priests tested for possession by pressing a cross to your forehead to see if you flinched. It's like a medieval lie detector test, except failing means you're tied to a stake. You'd laugh if it weren't so grim. Imagine posting, "Priest says my panic attack is Satan's Airbnb," number medieval vibes. But there's no humor in the village square, where whispers spread faster than plague. The sensory details hit hard. The chill of a stone church, the acrid smell of burning herbs meant to cleanse you, the weight of eyes judging your every move. You're not allowed to be fragile. Fragility is danger. If you faint or tremble, they don't offer comfort, they call for an exorcism. Some nuns in monasteries try to help, offering prayers or fasting as cures. But low blood sugar and isolation don't exactly soothe your racing mind. You're told to pray harder, to confess sins you didn't commit, to silence the chaos inside you. It's not about understanding your pain, it's about making you fit the mold of a virtuous woman. The world around you is built on fear of plague, of God, of difference, and a trembling woman becomes a threat, not a person. You shuffle past the church, avoiding the priest's gaze, the wind carrying the faint chant of Latin prayers. No one asks about your losses, your fears, or the weight of surviving in a world that sees your tears as evidence of evil. You're not a witch, not possessed, just human grieving, scared, trying to breathe through the dread. But in this age, your anxiety isn't a condition, It's a verdict. You slip into the shadows of your hut, the firelight flickering, and wonder if anyone will ever see your pain as something other than a sin. For now, the answer is silence. And the world keeps burning its threats instead of building its compassion. You're wandering the sun-dappled streets of Florence during the Renaissance, around 1500 CE, the air alive with the scent of fresh paint and blooming jasmine from nearby gardens. Artists chisel marble into masterpieces, inventors sketch flying machines, and you, well, your heart's pounding again, your mind a whirlwind of unexplained fears. You seek out a doctor, hoping this age of rebirth has something better than garlic fumes or exorcisms. He's a scholarly type, powdered wig slightly askew, peering at you over half-moon spectacles. After a dramatic pause, he nods sagely and blames your uterus. Still, but now it's refined, filtered through rediscovered ancient texts. Your anxiety, he says, comes from being too emotional, too female, unbalanced humors making your womb act up. The cure? A good leeching to drain the excess blood, or maybe cupping to suck out the bad vibes, followed by a hot poultice slapped on your abdomen like a medieval heating pad. The canonical event here is the publication of Andreas Vesalius's De Humani Corporis Fabrica in 1543, which revolutionized anatomy but still didn't shake the old uterine theories for women's mental woes. Historians still debate whether Vesalius and his peers truly advanced women's care or just repackaged ancient biases with fancier illustrations. But either way, it meant your panic was treated like a plumbing issue. If you're elite, you might get sent to the countryside for rest, which sounds idyllic until you realize it's code for isolation. No books, no thinking, just staring at sheep until your womb settles. Poorer women? Straight to bleeding or herbal tonics that taste like regret. You sit in the doctor's chamber, the flicker of candlelight dancing on anatomical sketches, feeling the sarcasm bubble up. Great, another era where your brain's a bystander to your body's drama. Let's pause for a breath. Inhale that jasmine scent. Exhale the frustration. It's almost comical, imagining your uterus as a diva demanding balance, like it's auditioning for a Leonardo da Vinci sketch. You joke with your friends, "Doc says my womb's unbalanced. Maybe it needs yoga?" But the humor fades as the leeches are applied, their slimy wriggle against your skin, a cold reminder that this is progress. Sensory details wrap around you, the metallic tang of blood, the distant hum of marketplace banter, the scratch of quill on parchment as the doctor notes your nervous disposition. No one asks about the grief of losing family to plague or the pressure of arranged marriages. It's all humors and hormones, or whatever they called them back then. You're expected to be a harmonious beauty, like the art surrounding you, but your tears disrupt the proportion. The odd detail? Doctors warned against reading too much, claiming books could overstimulate your delicate nerves and send your womb into a tizzy because nothing says hazardous like a woman with ideas. It's like telling someone with insomnia to avoid coffee but banning bedtime stories. You can't help but chuckle softly. In an age birthing symphonies and sculptures, your mind's treated like fragile glass. Historians whisper about elite women confined to dark rooms, dosed with tonics until they feigned calm, their anxiety muted behind chamber doors. You slip out of the doctor's office, the cobblestones uneven underfoot, carrying the weight of another dismissal. The Renaissance celebrates harmony, but for you, It's just another layer of silence, your fears painted over like an unfinished canvas. You meander toward the Arno River, the water's gentle lap, a faint ASMR soundtrack to your thoughts. Remember the wandering womb from Greece? It's evolved, but not really now. It's unbalanced, not nomadic, but still the star of the show. A light joke bubbles up. If uteruses were tourists, yours would have a 5-star review for causing historical drama. But seriously, in this golden age, your panic isn't a wound. It's an inconvenience to be bled out or hidden away. You pause by a fountain, the spray misting your face, wondering if enlightenment will ever extend to your soul. For now, it's leeches and lectures, and you walk on, the city's beauty a stark contrast to your inner storm. The world buzzes with discovery. Michelangelo's David stands proud. Da Vinci dreams of helicopters, but your trembling is tucked away, dismissed as womanly trouble. You'd quip to the statues. At least you don't have to worry about your humors. But they're stone, silent. The debate lingers. Did these doctors help or hinder, advancing bodies while ignoring minds? You exhale slowly, letting the river's rhythm calm you, but the knot remains. This era rebirths art, but not empathy, leaving you to navigate the shadows alone. You're sipping tea in a powdered wig parlor in 18th century Paris, the air laced with the faint aroma of lavender and enlightenment-fueled chatter. Philosophers pontificate about liberty and reason from velvet armchairs, their voices a soothing drone like a podcast on low volume. But your chest tightens anyway, your thoughts spinning like a poorly balanced spinning wheel. You confide in a physician, hoping this age of logic has ditched the womb blame game. He adjusts his spectacles, nods gravely, and labels you a nervous lady polite, almost elegant, but still code for fragile female. Your anxiety, he explains in measured tones, stems from too many nerves, too much imagination, your delicate system overwhelmed by the world's progress. The uterus has stopped wandering, thank goodness. But now it's your entire nervous system that's the drama queen, built for breakdowns in a man's rational universe. The canonical event here is the publication of George Cheyne's The English Malady in 1733, which popularized the idea of nervous disorders as a fashionable affliction, especially for women, tying emotional distress to overstimulated nerves rather than demonic whispers or humoral imbalances. Historians still debate whether Cheyne's work advanced mental health understanding or just repackaged old biases in enlightened packaging. But either way, it meant your racing heart was now a symptom of being too sensitive, too modern. If you're wealthy, the cure is a nervous retreat, warm baths, mild walks, and laudanum, a dreamy mix of opium and alcohol that quiets your mind like a soft blanket over a screaming alarm clock. You recline on a chaise, the laudanum's warmth spreading through your veins, your pulse slowing to a whisper. But at what cost? It masks the pain, sure, but it also dulls everything else, turning you into a polite shadow of yourself. Let's ease into this. Inhale that lavender scent. Exhale the era's irony. It's almost funny, picturing your nerves as overexcited party guests refusing to leave, like that one friend who lingers after the wine's gone. You'd quip to your companions, "Doc says I'm too imaginative. Maybe I should stop dreaming of equality." But the sarcasm lands softly in the parlor's hush. Sensory details wrap around you, the tickle of lace at your wrists, the distant clink of teacups, the faint bitterness of laudanum on your tongue like a regretted nightcap. No one probes your deeper fears, the isolation of arranged marriages, the grief of lost children, the quiet rage at being sidelined while men debate freedom. Instead, they prescribe sedation as if tranquility is a pill away. You're expected to be delicate, a porcelain doll in a world of iron logic. Your anxiety filed under female excess. The odd detail? Some doctors advised against ambition or anger, claiming it overstimulated your nerves, like telling a bird not to fly because it might ruffle its feathers. It's like modern self-care gone wrong. Have you tried not feeling? You chuckle softly, imagining an enlightenment tweet. Nervous? Just laudanum and chill. Number age of reason. But beneath the jest, the dismissal stings. Poorer women endure without the luxury of retreats, their anxiety ignored or blamed on laziness. While you, if you dare express frustration, risk confinement, no trial, just a husband's signature and a locked door. It's reason for men, rest for women. Libraries built on logic, boudoirs padded with silence. You gaze out the window at the bustling streets, the world buzzing with telescopes and treatises. But your inner storm is sedated, not solved. Remember the Renaissance leeches? They've evolved into laudanum drops, but the core remains. Your pain is personal, not societal. A light joke surfaces. If nerves were currency, you'd be bankrupt from all this overstimulation. Historians whisper about how these treatments hooked women on opium, dependency dressed as cure, but no one back then connected the dots. You sink deeper into the chaise, the room's warmth lulling you, but the knot persists. This era illuminates the heavens with Newton's gravity, yet your fears are grounded in gender, dismissed as fluttering nerves. You'd banter with the philosophers. Liberty for all? How about liberty from this laudanum haze? But they're too busy pondering stars. Exhale slowly, letting the ASMR rhythm of rain on the windowpane calm you. But the sarcasm lingers. In the age of enlightenment, women's minds are still left in the dark. You stir your tea, the spoon's gentle clink, a faint echo of your unrest. The world outside pulses with progress. Voltaire's wit, Rousseau's reveries. But inside, you're medicated into meekness. Another quip bubbles up. Nerves too much? Blame the imagination because reality couldn't possibly be the issue. It's PG-13 sarcasm, soft as the parlor's cushions. Sensory overload eases with the laudanum's glow, but true relief? That's as elusive as equality. You're not broken, you're burdened, but the diagnosis says otherwise. Historians debate if this shift to nerves was a step toward psychology or just a prettier cage. But for you, it's another era of echoes. You set down the cup, the porcelain cool against your fingers, wondering if anyone will ever ask why your heart races instead of how to slow it. For now, it's sedation and silence, the Enlightenment's gift to the nervous ladies like you. The parlor fades into twilight, shadows lengthening like unspoken fears. You close your eyes, the laudanum pulling you under, but a whisper remains. Maybe one day, reason will include your reality. Until then, you drift, the world's progress, a distant hum. You're buttoned up in a corset-tight drawing room in Victorian London, around 1880 CE, the air thick with the scent of coal smoke and starched linen wafting from the heavy drapes. Gas lamps flicker softly, casting long shadows that dance like unspoken secrets across the wallpaper's intricate patterns. And your heart's pounding again, a relentless drumbeat echoing in your ears. You confide in a doctor, his mustache impeccably waxed, his expression one of practiced empathy as he diagnoses your nervous disorder, a catch-all for the anxiety that leaves you exhausted, trembling, unable to sleep through the night. No more wandering wombs or demonic whispers. Now it's all about rest, he says, prescribing the infamous rest cure, a regimen that promises healing through absolute stillness. You're to lie in bed for weeks, maybe months, no reading, no writing, no visitors, just boiled milk sipped slowly, and a room so quiet you can hear your own thoughts unraveling like loose threads. The canonical event here is the development and popularization of the rest cure by Dr. Silas Weir Mitchell in the 1872nd, a treatment he detailed in his book, Fat and Blood, which became a go-to for hysterical women, influencing care across Europe and America. Historians still debate whether Mitchell's method was a genuine attempt at compassionate care or just a tool to enforce Victorian ideals of passive femininity, but either way, it trapped you in a velvet-lined cage, your anxiety not addressed, but amplified by the isolation. If you resist, whispering that the silence is making it worse, you're labeled uncooperative, resistant to healing, which only means more confinement, more milk, more nothing. You sink into the plush mattress, the sheets crisp and unyielding, feeling the sarcasm rise like bile. Great, because nothing says recovery like being turned into a human potato. Let's pause for a breath. Inhale that faint lavender from the pillow sachet. Exhale the era's stifling propriety. It's almost amusing, imagining your anxiety as a naughty child sent to timeout, except the timeout lasts forever and comes with mandatory naps. You'd quip to the empty room, "Doc, is this rest or a preview of the afterlife?" asking for my sanity. But the joke lands flat in the hush. No audience but the ticking clock on the mantel. Sensory details envelop you, the cool compress on your forehead, the distant clatter of horse-drawn carriages outside, the bitter tang of that endless boiled milk coating your tongue like regret. No one digs into why you're breaking the pressure to be the perfect angel in the house. The grief of miscarriages hushed up, the exhaustion of managing a household while smiling through it all. Instead, they wrap you in passivity as if stillness could stitch your frayed nerves back together. The odd detail? Some rest cures included electrotherapy, where mild shocks were applied to stimulate your system, like jump-starting a carriage, but for your soul, because why not add a zap to your nap? It's like modern wellness gone Victorian. Have you tried shocking yourself into serenity? You chuckle softly, picturing an Instagram reel. Victorian self-care. Lie still or get zapped. Number rest cure fails. But beneath the levity, the confinement bites deep. Famous writer Charlotte Perkins Gilman endured this herself, later channeling the madness into the yellow wallpaper. A story where the forced silence drives a woman to crawl the walls literally. You stare at your own wallpaper, its patterns swirling like mocking eyes, wondering if you're next. The era demands composure, angelic calm from women, while men conquer empires. But your racing thoughts disrupt the dinner table, so off you go to the sanatorium, where ice baths await, if milk doesn't cut it. Remember the Enlightenment's laudanum haze? It's evolved into this padded neglect, sedation swapped for starvation of stimulus. But the dismissal's the same. Your pain's inconvenient to be hidden away. A light joke surfaces. If corsets squeezed your waist, the rest cure squeezes your spirit talk about Victorian compression. Historians murmur about how asylums overflowed with women whose Crimes were crying too much or talking too fast, restrained for days because refusing to smile was rebellion. You shift slightly in bed, the creak of springs a small defiance, but the doctor's orders echo. Movement is dangerous, thought even more so. It's not healing, it's erasure. Your anxiety pathologized into something society can ignore. You'd banter with the shadows. At least the wallpaper's entertaining better than Netflix, right? The sarcasm softens the edge, but the knot in your chest tightens. You exhale slowly, letting the room's quiet rhythm lull you, the fan-like hum of a distant clock ticking like ASMR whispers. The world outside bustles with industrial, might trains chugging, factories humming, but inside, you're a relic, preserved in stillness. Another quip bubbles up. Rest cure? More like rust cure. Lie here long enough, and you'll seize up. It's PG-13 light, a sleepy smirk in the dim light. Sensory overload eases with the fading gas lamp, but true peace? That's as rare as a Victorian woman's vote. You're not mad. You're muffled. Your fears fermented in silence. Historians debate if this cure helped anyone or just reinforced the cage. But for you, it's clear. Anxiety isn't a disorder to confine. It's a signal to hear. You close your eyes, the mattress cradling you like a reluctant embrace, wondering when someone will unlock the door to your mind. For now, it's boiled milk and boredom, the era's elegant trap. The drawing room blurs as dusk settles, shadows, lengthening like forgotten dreams. You drift, the weight of propriety pressing down, but a whisper persists. Maybe one day, rest will mean freedom, not chains. Until then, you lie still, the world's progress, a muffled roar beyond your window. You're sprawled on a plush leather couch in Vienna, 1900 CE, the air tinged with cigar smoke and the faint scent of polished wood from bookshelves stuffed with theories. Gaslights cast a warm glow, but your pulse races, your mind tangled in knots of worry that won't unravel. You're here to see Sigmund Freud, the man with a beard as grand as his ideas, who promises to unlock the secrets of your soul. He leans back, puffing his pipe, and declares your anxiety isn't about wombs or demons anymore. It's your unconscious, your repressed desires. Probably something scandalous tied to your childhood, or, let's be honest, your father. You talk, he listens, scribbling notes like he's decoding a mystery novel. But the verdict feels familiar. Your pain's still your fault, just wrapped in a new theory. Psychoanalysis is the hot new thing, and you're the puzzle he's determined to solve, whether you like the pieces or not. The canonical event here is the publication of Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams in 1899, which laid the groundwork for psychoanalysis and shifted mental health toward exploring the mind's hidden corners. Historians still debate whether Freud's ideas liberated women by giving their emotions a voice or just swapped one cage for another, pinning anxiety on personal failings like repressed libido rather than societal pressures. You lie on the couch, the leather creaking softly, feeling the weight of his gaze. It's progress. Nobody's waving garlic or locking you in a convent, but it's still a man's lens on your mind. Your panic attacks? Probably a metaphor for something phallic. Nightmares? Definitely about your mother. You'd quip, "Doc, can my unconscious at least pick a less dramatic script?" But the sarcasm stays silent, swallowed by the room's heavy air. Inhale the faint pipe smoke. Exhale the frustration of being overanalyzed. It's almost funny, imagining your anxiety as a repressed soap opera playing out in your subconscious, complete with Freud as the director shouting, More symbolism. You'd post it online. Freud says my panic's just daddy issues. Anyone got a couch that fixes society? Number Vienna vibes. But the humor fades fast. Sensory details pull you in. The tick of a pendulum clock. The scratch of Freud's pen. The faint coffee bitterness lingering from breakfast. No one asks about the real stuff. The suffocating expectations of being a proper woman. The grief of lost autonomy. The fear of a world that demands your silence. Instead, they dig for hidden desires, as if your racing heart is just a Freudian slip. The odd detail? Freud believed some women's anxiety stemmed from hysterical conversion, where emotional pain turned physical, like your trembling hands were your mind's way of confessing secrets. It's like your body's playing charades with your soul, and nobody's guessing right. You chuckle softly, picturing your nerves staging a protest. We're not repressed, we're just stressed. But the couch isn't for banter, it's for confession. And Freud's too busy decoding your dreams to hear your reality. In smoky Viennese rooms, psychoanalysis spreads like wildfire, offering a new language for pain, but still framing it as your problem, not the world's. If you don't get better, maybe you're resisting the truth classic patient blame, just with fancier words. You're expected to whisper your fears, not shout them, while men debate theories in coffee houses. Remember the Victorian rest cure? It's evolved into this talking cure, but the vibe's the same. Your anxiety's a flaw to be fixed, not a response to a life of constraints. A light joke bubbles up. If your unconscious is this chatty, maybe it needs its own diary. Historians murmur about how psychoanalysis gave women a space to speak, but often through a male filter, your words twisted into theories of longing. You shift on the couch, the leather cool against your skin, feeling the ASMR rhythm of the clock's tick-tock pulling you deeper. The air is buzzing with intellectual fervor, electricity, telephones, new frontiers, but your fears are still a private puzzle, not a public problem. You'd tease Freud. If my dreams are symbolic, maybe my anxiety's just screaming for a vacation. The sarcasm's soft, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the dim light. You exhale slowly, letting the room's quiet hum soothe you, but the knot persists. Sensory overload fades with the fading gaslight, but true relief? That's as rare as a woman's byline in Freud's journals. You're not broken, you're burdened, but the diagnosis says otherwise. Historians debate if psychoanalysis was a leap toward understanding or just a prettier cage. But for you, it's clear. Your anxiety isn't a repressed desire. It's a cry for someone to listen. You rise from the couch, the floorboards creaking underfoot, wondering if anyone will ever hear your fear as truth, not theory. For now, it's endless talking, endless interpreting, the era's new ritual for silencing the soul. The Viennese twilight settles outside, gaslights glowing like distant stars. You step into the cool evening, the weight of analysis pressing down. But a whisper lingers. Maybe one day, your story won't need a couch to be heard. Until then, you walk on, your fears tucked away like a dream nobody's ready to interpret. You're perched on a pastel upholstered chair in a 1,952nd suburban kitchen, the air sweet with the scent of freshly baked casserole and hairspray. The linoleum floor gleams under fluorescent light, and the radio hums a cheery tune about love and apple pie. But your hands tremble as you grip the coffee mug, your heart racing like it's late for a bus. The world expects you to be the perfect housewife, pearls on, smile bright, Dinner on the table by 6, but inside, you're unraveling, a quiet panic simmering beneath your pressed apron. You visit the family doctor, a kindly man with a clipboard and a reassuring nod. He doesn't mention wombs or demons. Instead, he hands you a little white bottle labeled Milltown or maybe Valium, dubbed Mother's Little Helper. Pop one, he says, and you'll feel calm, like you've been wrapped in a warm television commercial. Anxiety? Just a hiccup in your perfect life, nothing a pill can't fix. The canonical event here is the mass marketing of tranquilizers like Milltown in the 1952nd, followed by Valium in the 1962nd, prescribed to millions of women to soothe the cracks in their suburban dream. Historians still debate whether these drugs were a medical breakthrough or a cultural bandage, masking the pain of women trapped in roles that demanded perfection without question. But either way, you're medicated, not heard. You swallow the pill, the bitter coating lingering on your tongue, and feel the world soften, edges blurring like a Polaroid left in the sun. It's relief, sure, but it's also a leash calmness at the cost of clarity. You'd quip to the mirror, "Pills for my thrills? Guess I'm the calmest wreck in town." But the sarcasm stays quiet, drowned by the radio's chipper jingle. Inhale that casserole warmth, exhale the weight of expectations. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a fussy guest soothed by a chemical babysitter, like Valium's the nanny you didn't ask for. You'd tweet, "Doc says my panic's just bad housekeeping. Pass the Valium. Number 1950S struggles." But the humor fades fast. Sensory details pull you in. The clink of dishes in the sink, the faint lavender of your perfume, the hum of the fridge, like a low-budget ASMR track. No one asks about the loneliness of endless laundry, the grief of dreams deferred, or the exhaustion of smiling through it all. Instead, they hand you a bottle and a pat on the head, as if your pain's a minor glitch in the American dream. You're expected to be content, a glossy magazine cover in a world that doesn't see your cracks. The odd detail? One Valium ad showed a woman clutching a sink, captioned, "You can't set her free, but you can help her feel less trapped." It's like they knew you were caged, but offered a prettier cage instead. You chuckle softly, imagining your kitchen as a stage. Act 1, smile. Act 2, swallow. Repeat. But beneath the levity, the dependency creeps in. By the 1962nd, millions of women are hooked, not because they're weak, but because the pills are easier than questions. You glance at the Tupperware, perfectly stacked, and feel the irony. Everything's in order except you. Remember Freud's couch? It's been replaced by a prescription pad, but the message is the same. Your anxiety's your problem, not the world's. Historians whisper about how pharmaceutical companies profited off women's silence, turning pain into a market while society nodded along. You stir your coffee, the spoon's soft clink, a faint rebellion against the haze. The air is buzzing with conformity, new cars, new suburbs, new appliances, but your fears are sedated, not solved. You'd banter with the radio. "If I'm so perfect, why's my heart staging a jailbreak?" The sarcasm's gentle PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the kitchen's glow. Sensory overload eases with the pill's dull hum. But true peace? That's as rare as a dishwasher that unloads itself. You're not ill. You're exhausted. Human in a world that demands a robot's smile. Historians debate if these pills helped or harmed, but for you, it's clear. Anxiety isn't a disorder to drug away. It's a scream nobody hears. You set down the mug, the porcelain cool against your fingers, wondering when someone will ask why you're breaking instead of how to quiet you. The kitchen clock ticks on, each second a reminder of dinner deadlines and unspoken fears. You exhale slowly, letting the radio's rhythm lull you, but the knot persists. Another quip surfaces. Valium's great, but can it fix a world that wants me Stepford? Perfect? It's a soft jab, light as the lace curtains fluttering in the breeze. The suburbs gleam outside, lawns trimmed, lives polished, but inside, you're a storm in a pill bottle. You drift, the weight of perfection pressing down, but a whisper lingers. Maybe one day, your anxiety will be a question, not a prescription. Until then, you smile, swallow, and wait for the world to catch up. You're curled up on a shag-carpeted couch in a 1,972nd living room, the air heavy with the scent of patchouli and instant coffee. The television blares a women's liberation rally, voices fierce and unapologetic, while your heart races, a familiar panic clawing at your chest. You're not alone anymore across town. Women gather in consciousness-raising groups, comparing notes over cigarette smoke and dog-eared copies of Miss Magazine. You join them, hesitant at first, but their stories echo yours. The exhaustion, the fear, the feeling of being trapped in a life scripted by someone else. Your anxiety, they say, isn't a personal flaw, a bad womb, or a chemical glitch. It's a response to a world that demands you smile while carrying its weight. For the first time, someone names it. Not hysteria, not nerves, but a logical reaction to being overworked, unheard, and expected to juggle perfection like it's just another chore. The canonical event here is the publication of Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique in 1963, which sparked the second wave feminist movement and gave voice to the problem that has no name, the quiet despair of women like you, anxious despite having everything. Historians still debate whether Friedan's work truly shifted mental health care or just cracked open the conversation, but either way, it's a turning point. Your pain's not just in your head, it's in the walls, the expectations, the silence. You sit cross-legged in the circle, the scratchy carpet grounding you, feeling the sarcasm bubble up. Finally, someone's blaming the patriarchy instead of my hormones. You'd quip to the group, so my panic attacks are just unpaid emotional labor? Where's my refund? The laughter's warm, a shared release in the smoky room. Inhale that patchouli vibe. Exhale the weight of decades' dismissal. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a protest sign. Your body's been waving, like equal pay, equal say, and maybe a nap. You'd post it. Feminists say, my anxiety's not me, it's the system. Groovy, number 1970S Revolution. But the humor softens the edge. Sensory details wrap around you. The clink of coffee mugs, the faint hum of a record player, spinning Joni Mitchell, the tang of nicotine lingering in the air. No one's handing you Valium or locking you in a rest cure. They're asking what's wrong, really wrong. The isolation of suburban cages, the sting of workplace sexism, the grief of dreams shelved for domesticity. You're not expected to be a silent angel anymore. You're invited to speak, to rage, to rewrite the script. The odd detail. Some feminists argued anxiety was a sane response to an insane world, flipping the script so your trembling hands weren't weakness, but proof you were paying attention. It's like your nervous system's the canary in the coal mine, singing loud while others ignore the gas. You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a hippie activist. Make peace with my panic, man. But beneath the levity, the truth lands hard. These groups aren't therapy, but they're healing, letting you connect the dots between personal pain and societal pressure. Remember the 1,950-second pill haze? It's fading, replaced by questions, not prescriptions. Historians whisper about how women entered psychology and psychiatry, not just as patients, but as professionals, slowly shifting the field's lens. You lean back, the couch's worn fabric a comfort, letting the group's rhythm lull you like an ASMR whisper of solidarity. The air is alive with change protests, bell-bottoms, Title IX. But your fears are finally being heard, not hushed. You'd banter with the women. If anxiety's my rebellion, where's my protest sign? The sarcasm's gentle PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the candlelight. Sensory overload eases with the group's warmth, but true peace? It's a work in progress, like the movement itself. You're not broken. You're awake. Your anxiety, a map of a world that's been unkind. Historians debate if feminism reshaped mental health or just stirred the pot. But for you, it's clear. Your pain's not madness. It's truth trying to break free. You sip your coffee, the mug's warmth seeping into your hands, the knot in your chest loosening just a little. Another quip surfaces. If society's the problem, can I send it to therapy? It's a soft jab, light as the lava lamp's glow. The world outside roars with revolution, but inside, you're rewriting your story, one shared truth at a time. You exhale slowly, the record's soft strum calming you, but the fire persists. The question shifts from, what's wrong with me, to, what happened to me? And that's power. You lean forward, ready to speak again, wondering how loud your voice can get. For now, it's circles and courage, the era's gift to women like you. The living room glows with hope, shadows shrinking like old fears. You stay, the weight of silence lifting, but a whisper lingers. Maybe one day, anxiety will be a conversation, not a secret. Until then, you talk, listen, and rise together. You're navigating the neon-lit streets of 1,982nd New York, the air sharp with the scent of exhaust and pizza grease, Walkman headphones buzzing with Madonna's latest hit. The city pulses with ambition, big hair, bigger dreams, but your heart's racing again, palms sweaty, each step feeling like you're dodging an invisible minefield. You visit a psychiatrist, his office sleek with chrome and glass, a far cry from Freud's smoky parlor. He flips through the freshly printed DSM-3, the mental health Bible of 1,980, and gives your anxiety a name. Generalized anxiety disorder, maybe panic disorder, if your attacks hit hard. It's clinical, precise, a step forward from hysteria or nerves. But when you cry during the session, he scribbles fragile in his notes. His pen's scratch louder than your words. You're handed a Xanax prescription and a pamphlet suggesting jogging because nothing says calm like running in leg warmers. The canonical event here is the publication of the DSM-3 in 1980, which revolutionized psychiatry by standardizing diagnoses like GAD, giving women's anxiety a medical name rather than a moral failing. Historians still debate whether this shift empowered women with clarity or just swapped one label for another. Stigma lingering like a bad aftertaste. But for you, it's a mirror held up after centuries of shadows. You clutch the pamphlet, the paper crinkling, feeling the sarcasm rise. Great, a name for my pain, but where's the part where someone listens? You'd quip to the receptionist. So my disorder's official now. Do I get a membership card? The laugh's soft, swallowed by the city's hum, but it keeps you grounded. Inhale that urban grit, exhale the weight of being fixed. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a file in the DSM's cabinet, neatly labeled but still messy inside. You'd post it. Got a diagnosis, still got doubts. Anyone else jogging their panic away? Number 8, 0S problems. Sensory details hit hard. The squeak of your sneakers on linoleum, the faint chemical whiff of hairspray, the distant wail of a siren, like an ASMR track gone rogue. No one probes the deeper stuff. The pressure of climbing corporate ladders, the sting of casual sexism, the exhaustion of balancing roles. Nobody questions. Instead, they offer pills and platitudes, as if Xanax can rewrite your reality. You're expected to be capable, composed, a shoulder-padded warrior in a world that still whispers emotional like it's a flaw. The odd detail? Some doctors suggested anxiety came from overdoing it in the workplace, as if ambition was a virus you caught from wearing a power suit. It's like telling a marathon runner to stop running because they're sweating. You chuckle quietly, imagining your panic as a rebellious intern. Sorry, boss, I'm overstimulated by equality, but the levity fades. Therapy's an option now, if you can afford it, but finding a shrink who doesn't assume your tears mean weakness is like finding a good perm in a rainstorm. Remember the 1,970-second feminist circles? They're evolving into clinical terms, but the stigma clings like static. Historians murmur about how SSRIs, like Prozac, introduced late in the decade, became household names, promising chemical calm, but often skipping the why behind your worry. You slip off the headphones, the city's rhythm, a chaotic ASMR pulse, letting the neon blur soothe you. The era's buzzing with progress, MTV, personal computers, shoulder pads, galore. But your fears are still a private battle, medicated, not mended. You'd banter with the skyscrapers. If anxiety's a disorder, why's it the only thing keeping up with this city? The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the streetlight's glow. Sensory overload eases with the Xanax's soft hum, but true peace? That's as rare as a quiet subway. You're not fragile, you're fighting. Your anxiety a signal in a world too loud to hear. Historians debate if the DSM-3 clarified or commodified mental health, but for you, it's clear. A name's a start, but it's not the story. You pause at a diner, the coffee's bitter steam curling up, the knot in your chest loosening slightly. Another quip surfaces. Xanax for my nerves, but what's the pill for society's expectations? It's a soft jab, light as the neon flickering outside. The world outside hums with ambition, but inside, you're piecing together your truth. You exhale slowly, the diner's jukebox humming a faint melody, but the question lingers. When will someone ask why you're afraid instead of how to drug it away? For now, it's pamphlets and prescriptions, the era's shiny new cage. The city's glow fades into night, horns softening into a distant lullaby. You walk on, the weight of labels pressing down, but a whisper persists. Maybe one day, your anxiety will be a conversation, not a diagnosis. Until then, you move forward, your fears a quiet rebellion against a world that's only half listening. You're slouched on a beanbag in a cozy 2,000-second coffee shop, the air rich with the scent of roasted espresso and damp raincoats from the drizzle outside. Indie music strums softly from overhead speakers, a lo-fi ASMR vibe, but your heart's sprinting. your mind looping worst-case scenarios like a bad playlist on shuffle. You've seen a therapist now, not in a chrome office, but a warm room with mismatched pillows, and she doesn't hand you a pamphlet or blame your hormones. Instead, she asks, "What happened to you?" Not, "What's wrong with you?" For the first time, your anxiety isn't a defect. It's a response, maybe to a life that hasn't been kind. Trauma-informed care, she calls it. A new lens that sees your panic as a survival tool. Your hypervigilance, a learned reflex, not a glitch. You sip your latte, the foam tickling your lip, feeling the sarcasm bubble up. Finally, someone's blaming my past instead of my personality. The canonical event here is the publication of Trauma and Recovery by Judith Herman in 1992, which hit the mainstream in the 2002 and popularized trauma-informed care, reframing anxiety as a response to experiences like abuse, neglect, or societal pressure, especially for women. Historians still debate whether this shift truly changed mental health practice or just added buzzwords to therapy speak. But for you, it's a revelation, like finding glasses after years of squinting. You lean into the beanbag, its soft crinkle grounding you, and let the idea sink in. Your trembling isn't weakness, it's a wound, and wounds can heal. You'd quip to the barista, "Turns out my panic's just my brain's memoir want a signed copy?" The laugh's quiet, shared only with your coffee cup, but it feels like a small victory. Inhale that espresso warmth. Exhale the weight of old labels. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a battle scar instead of a scarlet letter. Like your nervous system's been through boot camp and earned a medal. You'd post it. "Therapist says my anxiety's a survivor's badge. Who else is a trauma VIP?" Number 2, 0000. S-healing. Sensory details wrap around you. The clatter of ceramic mugs. The faint peppermint of someone's gum. The rain's gentle tap on the window, like a nature ASMR track. No one's rushing to medicate you though. SSRIs like Zoloft are still on the table, or dismiss your fears as fragility. Instead, they're asking about the hard stuff. The weight of generational expectations. The sting of workplace harassment. The quiet trauma of always performing perfection. You're not expected to be a polished cog in the machine anymore. You're allowed to be human, messy, healing. The odd detail? Some therapists used grounding techniques, like holding a coffee cup to anchor you during panic, as if a $4 latte could tether your soul back to earth. It's like mindfulness with a side of caffeine, practical, but a little quirky. You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a jittery barista. One panic attack, decaf, please. But beneath the levity, the shift feels profound. TED Talks and memoirs spread the word, connecting dots between anxiety and lived experience, letting you see your pain as history, not hysteria. Remember the 1,980-second Xanax haze? It's fading, replaced by questions about what shaped your nervous system. Historians whisper about how trauma-informed care gave women validation, but access was uneven. Therapies still a luxury for many. You trace the cup's rim, the ceramic cool under your fingers, letting the coffee shop's hum lull you like a soft ASMR whisper. The era's buzzing with change flip phones, low-rise jeans, early internet forums, but your fears are finally being seen, not solved with a script. You'd banter with the raindrops. If my trauma's talking, maybe it needs a blog. The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the shop's glow. Sensory overload eases with the latte's warmth, but true peace? It's a journey, not a destination. You're not broken, you're scarred. Your anxiety, a story your body's been telling. Historians debate if this approach healed or just renamed pain, but for you it's clear. Your panic isn't a flaw, it's proof you've survived. You sip again, the knot in your chest loosening just a fraction. Another quip surfaces. Trauma, informed care, sounds like my brain's finally getting a hug. It's a soft jab, light as the fairy lights strung above. The world outside hums with dial-up modems and Y2 Kelvin hangovers. But inside, you're rewriting your narrative, one question at a time. You exhale slowly, the music's rhythm calming you, but the fire persists. What happened to you matters, and so do you. For now, it's coffee shops and courage, the era's quiet revolution. The shop's glow softens as evening creeps in, shadows blending like old fears into new hope. You stay, the weight of silence lifting, but a whisper lingers. Maybe one day, anxiety will be a story shared, not a secret kept. Until then, you sip, reflect, and keep healing. You're slumped in a desk chair in your 2010 apartment, the air humming with the faint scent of lavender diffuser oil and the buzz of your smartphone notifications. The screen glows with Instagram reels, promising to fix your nervous system in 30 seconds. But your heart's racing, your fingers scrolling faster than your thoughts can keep up. You're drowning in a digital sea, 37 emails, 2 calendar alerts, a group chat that never sleeps, and your anxiety's not just a feeling anymore. It's a full-time job, interactive and relentless. You try a meditation app, but even that grades your breathing like a report card. You're expected to be on, always responsive, successful, hydrated, glowing while your pulse sprints like it's late for a Zoom call. You'd quip to your phone, "Can you notify me when I'm allowed to rest?" But the sarcasm's lost in the algorithm's churn. The canonical event here is the launch of Instagram in 2010, which kicked social media into overdrive, amplifying anxiety by turning vulnerability into a curated aesthetic and pressure into a 24/7 performance. Historians still debate whether social media connected women's struggles or commodified them, creating solidarity or just another stage for perfection. But for you, it's both a lifeline and a trap. You swipe through posts, tagged number anxiety awareness, some raw and real, others filtered with pastel quotes about self-love. It's validating, sure, but also exhausting. Your pain's trendy now, as long as it's digestible. You lean back, the chairs creak a grounding ASMR tick, feeling the knot in your chest tighten like a bad Wi-Fi signal. Inhale that lavender mist. Exhale the weight of being seen. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a viral reel, captioned, "Me versus my inbox, the saga." You'd post it yourself. "My anxiety's trending, but my nervous system's offline. Send help. Number, digital age drama. Sensory details pull you in. The click of your keyboard, the faint tang of cold coffee, the hum of your laptop fan, like a white noise machine gone rogue. No one's prescribing Valium or locking you in a rest cure, but the advice feels just as shallow breathwork, matcha, journaling, all great until they're just another checkbox on your endless to-do list. You're not expected to be a silent housewife anymore. You're a brand, managing likes, emails, and existential dread in one swipe. The odd detail? Some influencers push tapping, EFT, where you tap pressure points to calm anxiety, like your body's a keyboard you can debug with a few clicks. It's like tech support for your soul quirky, but does it work? You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a glitchy app. Have you tried restarting your emotions? But the levity fades fast. Social media lets you share your struggles, connecting you with women across time zones who get it. But it also bombards you with just meditate, fixes that ignore the root, the pressure to be everything kind, creative, efficient, ethical, funny, but not too funny. Remember the 2000-second trauma-informed care? It's still here, but drowned out by wellness noise, therapy apps, and reels that sell peace like it's a subscription plan. You set the phone down, the screen's glow fading, letting the diffuser's hum lull you like a soft ASMR whisper. The era's buzzing with hashtags number self-care, number mental health matters, number girl boss, but your fears are amplified, not eased, by the constant noise. You'd banter with the lavender mist. If anxiety's an aesthetic, where's my filter for calm? The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the dim light. Sensory overload eases with the coffee's cooling steam. But true peace? That's as rare as an unopened notification. You're not broken, you're wired. Your anxiety, a signal in a world that's always online. Historians debate if social media empowered or overwhelmed. But for you, it's clear, your panic isn't a glitch. It's a scream in a crowded server. You rub your eyes, the knot loosening just a fraction as you unplug for a moment. Another quip surfaces. Social media says I'm valid, but my heart rate says I'm trending toward chaos. It's a soft jab, light as the fairy lights strung across your wall. The world outside hums with likes and deadlines, but inside, you're searching for silence. You exhale slowly, the diffuser's rhythm calming you, but the fire persists. Your anxiety's not just yours, it's the world's static. For now, it's scrolling and surviving, the era's noisy paradox. The apartment's glow softens as night settles, screens dimming like fading stars. You stay, the weight of notifications lifting slightly, but a whisper lingers. Maybe one day, anxiety will be a signal heard, not a post ignored. Until then, you log off, breathe, and keep navigating the noise. You're nestled in a cozy yoga studio in the 2022nd, the air soft with the scent of eucalyptus and warm wood, fairy lights casting a gentle glow like stars trapped in a jar. The world outside hums with chaos, endless notifications, work from home deadlines, and a news cycle that feels like a 24/7 anxiety generator. But here, you're trying to slow down. Your mat, a tiny island of calm. Your heart still races, though, your mind looping like a glitchy algorithm. And you're not alone. Around you, women stretch and breathe, their faces carrying the same quiet tension you feel. The instructor speaks softly, not about fixing you, but about resting, really resting, as an act of rebellion against a world that demands you keep running. You're learning to say no, to cancel plans, to let the dishes pile up, and shockingly, the universe doesn't collapse. You'd quip to the mat, rest is my new protest. Sign sorry, hustle culture. The sarcasm soft, a whisper in the candlelit hush. The canonical event here is the rise of the anti-hustle movement in the early 2022nd, popularized by books like How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell, which framed rest as resistance against a productivity-obsessed society, especially for women crushed under its weight. Historians still debate whether this shift genuinely freed women from burnout or just romanticized slowing down without addressing systemic pressures. But for you, it's a lifeline, a permission slip to pause without guilt. You sink into child's pose, the mat's texture grounding you, feeling the knot in your chest loosen as you exhale. It's not a cure, but it's a start, like turning off the Wi-Fi to hear your own thoughts. You'd post it. Resting without apology, my anxiety's new side hustle. Number slow down revolution. Inhale that eucalyptus breeze. Exhale the weight of always on expectations. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a burned out employee clocking out like, sorry, no more overtime for existential dread. Sensory details wrap around you, the soft creak of the studio floor, the faint vanilla of someone's candle, the hum of collective breathing, like an ASMR track crafted by intention. No one's pushing pills or mindfulness apps that grade your zen. They're encouraging you to exist, unpolished, unperformed. You're not expected to be a curated Instagram post or a Stepford wife anymore. You're allowed to be tired, human, enough. The pressure to be liked, successful, ethical, thin, funny but not too funny still lingers, but saying no feels like reclaiming a piece of yourself. The odd detail. Some anti-hustle advocates suggested sensory naps, where you lie in silence with an eye mask. No agenda, just to recalibrate your nervous system like a factory reset for your soul. It's quirky, like tech support for your senses, but oddly soothing. You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a frazzled app. Just needs a quick nap to update. But beneath the levity, the shift is real. Women are logging off, skipping meetings, choosing rest over relentless doing, not because it's trendy, but because it's survival. Remember the 2010-second social media overload? It's evolving into this quiet rebellion, where rest isn't lazy, it's radical. Historians whisper about how this movement gave women permission to prioritize themselves, but structural change lags behind personal choice. You stretch deeper, the studio's warmth a gentle ASMR hug, letting the eucalyptus scent lull you. The era's buzzing with buzzwords, burnout, self-care, boundaries. But your fears are softening, not silenced, as you reclaim your right to pause. You'd banter with the fairy lights. If rest's rebellion, I'm the Che Guevara of naps. The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the candlelight. Sensory overload eases with the group's shared breath. But true peace? It's a practice, not a product. You're not broken, you're reclaiming. Your anxiety, a signal you're allowed to heed. Historians debate if anti-hustle culture empowered or oversimplified. But for you, it's clear. Rest isn't weakness. It's wisdom in a world that worships speed. You roll up your mat, the knot in your chest lighter, the eucalyptus lingering like hope. Another quip surfaces. Hustle says go, but my heart says nap. Guess who's winning? It's a soft jab, light as the studio's glow. The world outside races on Zoom calls, trending hashtags, endless noise, but inside, you're choosing stillness. You exhale slowly, the group's rhythm calming you, but the fire persists. Your anxiety's not a glitch. It's a boundary you're learning to set. For now, it's yoga mats and quiet defiance, the era's soft revolution. The studio's glow fades into twilight, shadows blending like old pressures into new choices. You linger, the weight of hustle lifting, but a whisper remains. Maybe one day, rest will be a right, not a fight. Until then, you breathe, pause, and keep resisting. You're sitting cross-legged, In a virtual Zoom circle, in the mid-2022nd, your laptop balanced on a cushion, the air carrying the faint scent of chamomile tea, and the hum of a distant neighbor's lawnmower through an open window. The screen glows with faces women from different cities, time zones, lives each sharing stories of racing hearts and sleepless nights, their voices soft but unapologetic. This isn't a therapy session, though it feels like one. It's a community, a digital campfire, where anxiety isn't a diagnosis to fix, but a shared truth to hold. You speak, hesitant at first, about the panic that hits when the world feels too heavy, and instead of advice or pills, you get nods, me too's, and silence that feels like a hug. You'd quip to the screen, "My anxiety's got a group chat now, guess it's going viral." The sarcasm's gentle, a whisper in the pixelated glow. The canonical event here is the rise of online mental health communities in the early 2022nd, amplified by platforms like Discord and Reddit, where women created spaces like Number Mental Health Matters to validate anxiety without judgment, reshaping how emotional pain is shared. Historians still debate whether these communities fostered genuine healing or just digitized solidarity without systemic change. But for you, it's a lifeline, a place where your trembling hands aren't a flaw, but a story others recognize. You sip your tea, the mug's warmth grounding you, feeling the knot in your chest loosen as someone shares a story that mirrors yours. It's not about fixing, it's about witnessing, like an ASMR track of collective understanding. Inhale that chamomile calm, exhale the weight of being fixed. It's almost funny picturing your anxiety as a group chat notification you don't have to mute, like, ping, we're all in this together. You'd post it. Found my people, turns out anxiety's a team sport. Number community heals. Sensory details pull you in. The soft click of your keyboard, the faint citrus of your tea, the lawnmower's hum like a lo-fi ASMR loop. No one's pushing breathwork or matcha cures. They're just listening, letting you name the pressures work from home burnout, the ghost of past traumas, the endless juggle of being enough. You're not expected to be a curated post or a perfect machine anymore. You're allowed to be raw, real, human. The odd detail? Some groups use anxiety check-ins, where members share their stress levels with emojis, like a heart for okay, a storm cloud for rough turning feelings into a digital mood board. It's quirky, like a group text for your nervous system, but oddly grounding. You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a frowny face emoji. Storm cloud vibes today? Anyone else? But beneath the levity, the connection runs deep. These spaces let you say, "I'm struggling," without shame, echoing the 1,972nd feminist circles, but amplified across servers and time zones. Remember the 2010-second social media trap? It's evolving into this less performance, more presence. Historians murmur about how these communities gave women a voice, but access and moderation vary, and trolls lurk in the digital shadows. You adjust your screen, the Zoom grid, a patchwork of empathy, letting the group's rhythm lull you like a soft ASMR whisper. The era's buzzing with virtual everything, NFTs, hybrid work, endless streams, but your fears are softening, held in this shared space. You'd banter with the pixels. If anxiety's a club, we've got the best members. The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the screen's glow. Sensory overload eases with the tea's steam, but true peace? It's a collective effort, not a solo sprint. You're not broken. You're connected, your anxiety, a thread in a tapestry of shared stories. Historians debate if these spaces heal or just hold space. But for you, it's clear. Your panic isn't a secret. It's a signal others hear. You type a quick, "Me too," in the chat. The knot in your chest lighter, the chamomile lingering like hope. Another quip surfaces. Anxiety's got Wi-Fi. Now guess we're all logged in. It's a soft jab, light as the fairy lights on your shelf. The world outside hums with digital noise, but inside, you're part of something quieter, truer. You exhale slowly, the group's warmth calming you, but the fire persists. Your anxiety's not a glitch. It's a truth you're no longer carrying alone. For now, it's Zoom calls and shared silences, the era's gentle revolution. The screen's glow fades as the call ends, faces blinking out like stars at dawn. You linger, the weight of isolation lifting, but a whisper remains. Maybe one day, anxiety will be a story we all tell together. Until then, you stay, connect, and keep sharing. You're resting on a worn armchair in your 2025 living room, the air soft with the scent of cedarwood from a flickering candle, its flame dancing like a tiny beacon in the dusk. Outside, the world hums with electric cars and AI assistants. But inside, you're slowing down, your phone on silent, the notifications muted like a distant storm. Your heart still races sometimes, that familiar anxiety creeping in. But now you see it differently, not as a flaw to fix, but as a signal, a whisper from your body, saying you're awake in a world that's too loud. You've joined online groups, traded stories with women who get it, and learned to rest without apology. But tonight, it's just you, the candle, and a quiet truth. Your anxiety isn't madness, it's wisdom, honed by centuries of silenced voices, now ready to be heard. You'd quip to the flame, "My panic's got a PhD in survival, top of the class." The sarcasm's soft, a sleepy smirk in the glow. The canonical event here is the 2024 Global Mental Health Initiative, spurred by WHO campaigns and grassroots movements, which pushed for universal access to trauma-informed care, framing anxiety as a natural response to modern life's pressures, especially for women navigating a hyper-connected world. Historians still debate whether this marked a true shift or just repackaged old ideas with better PR. But for you, it's a turning point. Your pain's not a disorder. It's a story, and the world's starting to listen. You sink deeper into the chair, the fabric's texture grounding you, the knot in your chest softening like wax under the candle's heat. It's not about curing, it's about understanding, like an asthma whisper from your own soul. Inhale that cedarwood calm, exhale the weight of centuries' dismissals. It's almost funny, picturing your anxiety as a wise old friend, sitting cross-legged saying, "Told you this world's too much. Let's take a breather." You'd post it. "Anxiety's not my enemy. It's my alarm clock. Anyone else awake?" Number 2025, Wisdom. Sensory details cradle you. The candle's gentle crackle, the faint sweetness of leftover tea, the hum of a quiet street, like a lo-fi ASMR track. No one's pushing pills or quick fixes. They're asking what your fear's trying to teach you, the burnout of endless multitasking, the ache of unseen traumas, the pressure to shine in a world that never sleeps. You're not expected to be a perfect post or a productivity bot anymore. You're allowed to be human, fragile, wise. The odd detail? Some therapists now use anxiety mapping, where you chart your triggers like a constellation, turning panic into a star chart of your life's patterns. It's quirky, like cosmic journaling, but it helps you see the bigger picture. You chuckle softly, imagining your anxiety as a galaxy. Look, my stress has its own nebula, but beneath the levity, the truth settles gently. You're part of a quiet revolution, women. Resting, sharing, setting boundaries. Not because it's viral, but because it's vital. Remember the 2010-second social media noise? It's softened into this. Communities that hold space, not hashtags. Historians whisper about how these initiatives gave women tools to reclaim their narratives. But systemic gaps, access, cost, persist like static in the signal. You trace the armchair's seam, the candles glow a steady ASMR rhythm, letting the warmth lull you. The era's buzzing with tech VR therapy, AI coaches, but your fears are easing, not erased, in this moment of quiet. You'd banter with the flame. If anxiety's wisdom, I'm basically a sage now. The sarcasm's gentle, PG-13, like a sleepy smirk in the flickering light. Sensory overload fades with the cedarwood's embrace. But true peace? It's a practice, a daily choice. You're not broken, you're aware. Your anxiety, a signal of a world you're learning to navigate. Historians debate if this era healed or just highlighted, but for you it's clear. Your panic isn't a fault, it's a fire that's kept you alive. You lean back, the knot nearly gone, the candle's scent lingering like a promise. Another quip surfaces. Anxiety's my guru, teaching me to rest since forever. It's a soft jab, light as the shadows on the wall. The world outside races on drones, algorithms, endless streams. But inside, you're choosing stillness, wisdom, you. You exhale slowly, the candle's rhythm calming you, but the fire persists. Your anxiety's not a glitch. It's a truth you're ready to carry proudly. For now, it's candles and quiet, the era's gentle gift. The room softens into twilight. The candles glow, blurring like a dream, fading at dawn. You rest, the weight of centuries lifting. Your fear's no longer a burden, but a beacon, guiding you to a truth as old as time. You are enough. The world may rush, but you pause, your breath a quiet rebellion, your heart a steady whisper. Anxiety isn't your enemy, it's your ally, a signal you've always been awake, always been wise. And in this moment, with the candle's last flicker, you know your story's not just yours, it's shared, sacred, and strong enough to light the way for others. As the candle's flame dims, its soft glow fading into the quiet of your living room, you feel the world slow down, the hum of the outside fading like a distant song. The air is still, carrying only the lingering scent of cedarwood, wrapping you in a gentle embrace. Your journey through centuries, through wandering wombs, Victorian cages, digital noise, and quiet revolutions has brought you here to a moment where anxiety isn't a flaw, but a fire, a signal of your resilience, your awareness, your humanity. You're not racing anymore, not trying to outrun your fears or the world's demands. Instead, you're resting, listening, letting your breath weave a rhythm as soothing as a whispered lullaby. The knot in your chest is softer now, not gone, but familiar, a friend, not a foe. You close your eyes, the shadows blurring, and let the silence hold you, a promise that your story, your strength, will carry on. Sleep well, knowing you're not alone, and your light burns brighter than you know.